Hello, this is Alice the Pony Actress, and today I will be reading The Shippers Cometh by Jay the Brony. The Shippers Cometh. As per usual, things on Sweet Apple Acres were about as calm and peaceful as one would expect. There was a bright sun shining down from the sky, a gentle breeze through the air, and everywhere one turned, they would lay their eyes upon the still and delicious apples hanging from the many trees on the orchards. It was a scene worthy of a postcard, the kind of moment you just knew was about to have something come along and interrupt it. And sure enough, "Keep moving!" Apple Bloom tore across the grass of her home, followed swiftly by Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle. The three crusaders all bore looks of utter terror, panting furiously as they ran as fast as their tiny legs could carry them. On and on they galloped, heading straight for Apple Bloom's home. Every once in a while, the young apple would look over her shoulder as she ran, only to be struck with horror as she did so, before once more resuming her surge forward. Eventually, they made it to the doors, with Apple Bloom opening it quickly. She and the others darted inside, before closing the door behind them. "Lock it, quick!" Scootaloo called out. And lock it they did, as each of the crusaders leapt up and clicked closed one of the three bolts across the door. With that done, they retreated back a few steps, still breathing heavily from coming here. Do you think?" Sweetie Belle started. Apple Bloom shook her head. "I don't know. I think we mighta—" "Apple Bloom?" The arrival of the new voice caught all of them off guard, and together they spun around. Sure enough, it was Applejack, looking to her sister and her friends with clear confusion upon her face. "What in tarnation are y'all doing?" The three youngsters looked to one another, before eventually trying to hazard an explanation. "Oh," Apple Bloom began. "We're just—" Scootaloo continued. "Chilling?" Sweetie Belle ended. Applejack raised an eyebrow, apparently having already sensed their youthful troublemaking by this point. Scootaloo and Apple Bloom turned to their third comrade, looking rather annoyed. "Chilling?" Scootaloo asked. Sweetie Belle shrugged her shoulders. Sweetie Belle shrugged her shoulders. Why am I putting an R in there? Sweetie Belle shrugged her shoulders. "It's the best I could come up with." Shaking her head at this display, Applejack took a step forward. Okay, enough games. Just what is going on here?" That Applejack, though. "Okay, enough games. Just what is going on here?" Apple Bloom naturally was looking more than a little guilty right now, and so took her own step forward, taking a gulp before, at last, speaking up. "Well, ya see, sis, But she hadn't the chance to finish, as just then there was an almighty knocking on the door behind them. All eyes turned to it, with the crusaders especially looking fearful. Applejack, noticing this, started to frown before making her way to the door. "Well, looks like I'm getting my answers this way, then." Before the older sister could reach the door, however, Apple Bloom tried, barring her path. "No!" Needless to say, Applejack was not amused. "Apple Bloom?" Her words bore a serious tone to them, though just this side of threatening. Regardless of how they sounded, though, they had the desired effect, as the young earth pony let out a sigh, taking a step to the side while saying... Regardless of how they sounded, though, they had the desired effect. I can't do this sentence. Regardless of how they sounded, though, they had the desired effect, as the young earth pony let out a sigh, taking a step to the side while hanging her head. Applejack turned once more to the door, approaching it, and, after briefly unlocking it again, finally got the thing open. On the other side was a pony, a stallion, smartly dressed in a business suit, and bearing a very serious expression. "Miss Applejack, yes?" Applejack nodded, prompting him to continue. "You are, in fact, the older sister of one Apple Bloom, correct?" The older sister glanced down to the sibling in question, before, again, looking to the stallion and nodding. Once more, this caused him to continue. "I'm here from the agency, miss, and it is my unfortunate duty to inform you that your sister has recently been involved in a number of actions that, as of now, mean that she is officially shipped." The effect of those words was immediate, as Applejack took a frightful step backwards, shaking her head frantically. No, it can't be. Apples, apples, apples. Try to get back into Applejack. No, it can't be. Can't be. No, it can't be. The stallion lowered his head in a morose manner. I'm sorry, but it is. I'm sorry, but it is. Applejack's head snapped in her sister's direction, her expression a pleading one. Apple Bloom, please, tell me it ain't so. The youngster couldn't look her sister in the eye, and when she spoke, it was with a slight wobble. I'm sorry, sis. It just happened. The older mare kept staring at her young sibling while she spoke up again. But what happened? Apple Bloom looked away, clearly embarrassed. Well, it was a couple of weeks ago. I was doing some stuff on my own, and, well, I ended up dancing with a colt. Applejack's eyes widened. Dancing? Consarn it, Apple Bloom. Y'all know what that kind of stuff leads to. Here at last, the youngster looked up to her. I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. Raising her hoof, Applejack rubbed her temples a little. Did y'all at least... Bleh. As much as I hate to interrupt, I must remind you what this means. Now that this has never... As much as I hate to interrupt, I must remind you what this means. Now that this has happened, Miss Applebloom and the colt... Briefly, he rummaged in his suit pocket, pulling out a small... I can't read. Briefly, he rummaged in his suit pocket, pulling out a small scrap of paper before squinting his eyes at it. 1. Tender taps. She and he are now officially shipped. And that means all the usual things. Artwork, stories, putting them together so people can make high-pitched, happy squeals. The usual fare. Applejack let out a sigh. I understand. I don't like it, but I understand. But Applebloom, naturally, was not so willing, and she threw herself at her sister's hooves, looking up to her with pleading eyes. Please, sis, don't let him. But Applejack looked away, her expression pure stoicism. I'm sorry, Bloom, but y'all know the rules. You got yourself shipped. Now... Applejack and I are not getting along today. No, we're not. I'm sorry, Bloom, but y'all know the rules. You got yourself shipped, so now you gotta pay the piper. The young earth pony let go of her sister, looking down at the ground, rather dejected at all of this. As for the stallion, he was, expectedly, uncomfortable about being in between this little sibling moment, but he composed himself, clearing his throat and getting the attention of every pony else. If it makes you feel any better, you're actually taking this better than most. Most of the time, they fight to be... There's a typo there. It says... Oh, hi, cat. Oh my gosh, it's dark, and I just saw my cat's eyes just glowing in the dark. My gosh, I'm sorry. I'm recording this very late in the night, so I'm a bit loopy, okay? I'm sorry. Anyway, they have a typo there. It says most of the time they fight be tooth and nail instead of they fight the tooth and nail. I don't know. It's just a weird typo. Oh well. If it makes you feel any better, you're actually taking this better than most. I don't know if that truck was any trouble to this recording, but I'm going to redo the line just in case. Thank you, truck. Oh, hi, cat. You interested? Cat just sniffed the computer. If it makes you feel any better, you're actually taking this better than most. Most of the time, they fight the tooth and nail for it. A brief chuckle escaped him. Actually, you should have seen how fiercely the last two fought today. Needless to say, that earned the curiosity of all of the other ponies, and they looked as the stallion glanced over his shoulder. They did the same, looking over to find, as he said, that there were indeed 2 other people some distance behind him. There, sitting on the front lawn, was none other than Spike, who at this moment was tied back to back with the recently chosen Lord Ember of the Dragonlands. The 2 were tied by way of a lot of duct tape, wrapped around them several times over. As Ember struggled, breathing fire in every direction, Spike just looked over to his new audience before shrugging his shoulders. "It's my fault, really. I should have seen it coming. Guy dragon and girl dragon, it was inevitable." Rolling her eyes, Applejack looked back to her sister. "All right now, Bloom. Y'all better get going." Apple Bloom lowered her head, starting to walk out along with the stallion. Tongue. Apple Bloom lowered her head. Starting to walk out along with the stallion, as the latter got busy trying to drag the 2 dragons off and also making sure not to let Ember get close enough to bite his head off. Apple Bloom looked back to Applejack. Just promise me. Just promise me this ain't gonna get too bad. I mean, this whole shipping thing, it ain't gonna get folks too excited, right? Here, Applejack softened her expression, trotting over and placing a warm hoof around her sister, bringing her close. "Oh, Apple Bloom." The comfort the filly was feeling here was sadly short-lived, as her sister's next words were tinted with seriousness. "Y'all have no idea." That was The Shippers Cometh by... Let me try that ending again. That was The Shippers Cometh by... freaking throat. That was The Shippers Cometh by Jay the Brony. Okay, so there we go. Sorry that there's a bit of editing to do. Like I said, it's a bit late at night, so brain not, processing words off of a screen correctly. I have no idea. Yeah. Anyway, bye.